and I thought I would post a video response to Timaya. I believe is how you pronounce his name, Timaya, on Spanking. Is it wrong or right? Made a lot of very, very valid points in your video. I definitely agree with everything that you said. Me myself, I'm sorry, excuse me, I've been drinking a little bit. Y'all know how I get down. Today I'm on that liquor. No beer, but I still got my cigarettes though. You know how I roll. But I personally feel that spanking is cool when done in moderation, when done when necessary. I don't think as soon as a child does something wrong, the first thing you should do is put your hands on them or slap them across the face, and, or beat them so bad that they can't sit down when they go to school and you leave bruises all over their body. That's just child abuse. You know, there's a difference between spanking and child abuse, a big difference. I think that if you talk to a child and you explain to that child what's wrong and what's right and what's acceptable and not acceptable, and that child continues to do what they want to do and not abide by your rules after you've spoken to them a couple of times about it, maybe then it's time for you to give them a spanking or whatever to let them know that you're serious. But there's also different techniques for disciplining a child. Yes, like I said, I don't have children yet, but I have dealt with several women who did, and I can tell which child had respect for their mother and which child didn't, and how those mothers interacted with their children. I could understand why their child reacted to them like that. I've dealt with some women who were very loving and nurturing with their children, but their children knew not to fuck with them, and when they got out of line, mama go upside their head. That's just what it is. And it ain't got to be like, no, you know, beating them all around the motherfucking room and everything like that. But like, didn't I tell your motherfucker, get in that room, go take your bath and go to bed. Don't turn that video game on. Don't turn that TV on. If I see a light come on in that room other than your bedroom light, we gonna have some problems. And that kid will go pouting and crying and go on in that room and do what they need to do. But if all you do is yell and holler at your child and you don't talk to them, the first thing you do is explode. I done told you. Ah! You're not getting anywhere. If you tell your child not to do something and they do it anyway, and you don't discipline that child when it happened, you're not getting anywhere. You have to get on them right when it happened. Let them know that that was not acceptable. You went against what I told you to do, and something is going to happen because of it. Whether that be you taking away their privileges. I know when I was in high school, I was kind of bucking the system, kind of doing what I wanted to do, and my parents weren't really big on beating me. But when I say I didn't have a telephone, a TV, a radio, or any interaction with the outside community for months at a time, I mean, they made their point pretty clear. And I mean, my father, you know, he was prior military, prior law enforcement, and he used to do things like have me stand in a corner or hold books out, you know, in each arm, and my arms better not drop. I better hold those books. Or he would have me wake up at the crack of dawn and cut the grass, you know, as punishment. Go out there and wash the cars, you know, as punishment. Crack of dawn, you tired, it's the weekend, you just want to sleep, get your ass up, come in here and wash these clothes. Things of that sort are good discipline, because they teach your child, just because I ain't putting my hands on you don't mean that I don't mean business. I think a lot of parents go wrong because they try to be friends with their children. You have to understand that you cannot be a parent as well as be a friend. Yes, you want your child to be able to come to you and talk to you about anything. You want them to feel comfortable communicating anything they feel with you, but there has to be some kind of borderline to keep that child from crossing that line, because if you come to your child as a friend, they're going to act like they're your friend, and they're going to treat you as such. You are not a 5-year-old. You don't have to get down on their level. They need to get on yours, and they don't need to be disrespecting you. A female that I'm dealing with right now, I had to tell her, I don't like how your child talks to you. She's like, what do you mean? I said, he yells, he talks over you, he puts his headphones on when you're talking to him, when you're attempting to discipline him. And then what you do is, once you get frustrated from repeating yourself all the time, you yell, and he just looks at you and rolls his eyes. And then when somebody gives him something and you know he's under punishment, you let him have it. Why would you let him have it? He doesn't need to have anything. You're punishing him. Well, you know, she gave it to him, and, you know, I didn't want to just take it away once she gave it to him. Why not? You're under punishment. I'm disciplining you. You don't get an iPod when I just told you you're grounded for the next month. You get that iPod when you're not grounded anymore. You know, but you expect your child to respect you. From what I've seen or experienced just from being out here in the world, is a child wants a certain amount of control or discipline in the household. They might not tell it to you, and a lot of kids might not realize it when they're children, but when they grow up, they respect their parents more for that discipline, for those rules being set in place, not allowing them to just go astray or awry or whatever and do what they want to do. It helps give them boundaries. It helps teach them how to abide by the rules, abide by the law, because when you get out in society, you're going to have a whole nother set of rules set in place by the government, by the police department, by their school, by their employer, and they can't just do what they want to do if they expect to succeed and excel and just be able to, you know, live in the world. Because if you don't teach them that now, they're going to get out in the world and expect for the world to do whatever they want them to do, just like their parents allowed them to do whatever they want them to do. Really, you're hindering your child more than you're helping them. There has to be a boundary. So no, you cannot be friends with your children. You cannot beat your children at every turn either. Because beating them all the time, I think that's what reinforces violent behavior. Because that's what they were taught to respond to. As soon as they messed up, you went upside their head, smacked them across the room, or beat them until they were black and blue. And then they grow up with all that internal anger and become passive aggressive or whatever the case may be. And that's how they go and react in society. As soon as someone angers them or does them wrong, the first thing they want to do is react abusively, because that's how they were brought up. That's how their mind has been programmed to deal with things. That's like seeing a child in a home where the father abuses the wife all the time, and the next thing he knows, he grows up and he's abusing his wife, because that behavior has been embedded into him throughout his life. And yeah, everything needs to be done in moderation. You hit your child when it's necessary, but you don't hit your child every time you turn around. You talk to your child. You communicate with your child. You reach out to them. You try to understand what's going on. But if your child just wants to just be unruly and do what the hell they want to do, they need to get their ass out. Do we need to go ahead and emancipate this parent-child relationship since you think you're so damn grown, and you go out there and you take care of your own self and find you somebody else who's going to take care of your little bad ass? Or what? And what's wrong with the system is now you have programs in place, should I say, like defects, that will take your child away from you if you abuse your child. So you're not allowed to really put your hands on your child anymore, because they'll come and take your child from you, as well as possibly put you in jail. Or if your child misses too many days of school, they'll put you in jail. Or if your child lies on you and says that you beat them and you bruise them and they're afraid of you, they'll put you in jail. And none of that might actually be true. So it almost makes the parent afraid to do anything, because now the child has control. Because the child can say, oh, if you put your hands on me, I'll call 911. And that makes that parent afraid. You're never supposed to be afraid of your child. Because I damn tell my child, call 911 if you want to. Now make sure you can't use none of them fingers to call 911 again in another day in your damn life. I will break all the motherfuckers you be walking around with a cast on in this bitch. Touch that phone. See what happens to you. But when I have children, I plan to communicate with my child. Keep the lines of communication open. Let them know that I'm here for them to talk to. But they're not going to get everything they want. A lot of children and even people have a problem with hearing the word no, because they were so used to getting everything that they wanted. When you just give them whatever they want and reward them for bad behavior, they don't understand what it is to not have the consequences of bad behavior, because they're just used to getting everything that they want. They're spoiled brats.